Okay, I think we're live again. Still dropping some frames, but Wi-Fi's nope. Wi-Fi's trying to come back. Okay, awesome. Sorry, everybody. Defeat Mimi anyway. I guess that kind of works out then. I'm just not quite happy with these base flesh tones I'm getting. It's not just what I imagined yet. Like, I feel like Medusa, she's got snakes growing out of her for her hair. So, like, that says to me, like, tropic and warm and, even though characteristically Medusa is a Gorgon and she's supposed to be, like, kind of mean and cold and turn people to stone, but well, we're just not gonna think about that part. Which, like, I mean, I do need these colder flesh tones to have like a fully like realized, convincing person or face or whatever. But I also want to have warmer stuff. My like weakest part with flesh tones is that I'll mix and mix and try different colors and I'll get it just right and then I won't be able to repeat it later. Like I'll forget exactly what colors I used. I think this is a good place to start. I can always add more like red and white. Paling it up a little. Yes, the struggle. It is a struggle sometimes. Dropped the cap to my brush tank earlier. Okay. Let's give Medusa a face. Just look down because I activated Henry's fish. Okay. Give him a drink here. All right. Need to get water. Can't start painting without something to hydrate with. In the zone, and then forget, and then you're like, oh my god, I'm dehydrated. But I'm not the only one that forgets that they're a human that requires water, fluids, stay in their life. If the stream hadn't like come back up quickly, I had thought about ending, but it came back up before I could even like go over and get an end message typed in chat and stuff. I just really need to get a Ethernet cord and hardline computer to the internet. That'll fix that problem. Need another layer of background color. I mean, I figure my first like attempt at skin tones on a new painting is like kind of like automatically a flop. So I'm just like, just go for it. Add another layer, fix it when you figure it out. Most of the time for me, it's a flop too. So try to not stress on it when the first painting skin tones. Fix it later, but at least be able to see what doesn't work. Yeah. Are we watching anything at the moment? Like, are we watching like a show that we're enjoying? I think right now we're like in between stuff we're watching. Oh, we started watching The Peripheral. It's a new show on Amazon Prime about like I guess something kind of like Ready Player One, but like even more like dark and serious. Yes, I watched Ring of Power. I'm so sad that it's already like over for the first season. Like I wanted more young Gandalf. I wasn't ready to say goodbye yet. I gotta wait for the new season already. I love that Gandalf, like, okay, according to Rings of Power, has had like this like special bond with hobbits from like very early on before they even like were the hobbits that we know, you know? Like they helped him like remember who he is. Have you read any of the Tolkien stories, like the books? Parents read it to you a long time ago before bed. You listened to The Hobbit on audiobook, but you haven't listened to um so I read the original trilogy or whatever, the Lord of the Rings trilogy in high school. And then um your dad is a major Lord of the Rings fan. Got it. Yeah, me and my dad, we were into it when the movies came out, and that's kind of how I got into it. And I'm sure like my dad wasn't exactly like the studying type, from what I can gather, but I'm sure he was exposed to The Hobbit when he was in school. But what do you call it? I was going somewhere and it just poof. um anyway, I've been listening to The Hobbit on audiobook lately. That's the audiobook I'm reading. And I have like a regular book I'm reading. I have graphic novels that I like read when I can't fall asleep, like on my phone or whatever. But when I started working at Barnes and Noble, I read the Silmarillion, and that's like, yeah, I had like a kind of like a high reading level for a high schooler. Like, you know, the kid that overachieved after, you know, like struggling for a while and then like overachieved after that, and then like nobody challenged you because you were doing so great. Like basically I was reading on a college level as a freshman in high school. Oh, I thought you were like surprised that I read it in high school. But yes, I read it in high school. Well, I think I have it on like slow because I'm painting. So like I don't like get behind between patches of paint. Dad is a Lord of the Rings and Star Wars fan. Your grandfather is a Harry Potter and Zelda fan, and your grandmother got you into Game of Thrones. Man, I would love to hang out with your family. I could talk fantasy, sci-fi, and books all day. And you got yourself into Star Trek. But yeah, you're a nerdy family. I love it. My family's not like super nerdy. Like I was kind of the oddball in my family a little bit. Why do you like all that crazy fantasy stuff? Like I think my dad liked the Lord of the Rings movies just because it was like all the like battle scenes. It was like kind of creative and stuff. And like I said, I'm sure like, you know, just like his age, he was probably exposed to The Hobbit in school. And I'm sure he thought it was like interesting or whatever. You really can't. It's true. Your mother's trying to get you to watch House of Dragons, but you're not ready for it yet. I mean, lower your expectations. That's all I have to say about it. Like, basically, watch it like the people that made the last season of Game of Thrones are the ones that made it. Which that might be harsh and a disservice to all the people that worked on that last season, but compared to all the other seasons, you know what I mean. Already pretty low and sad about that. The first few seasons of Game of Thrones were amazing. See, to me, it didn't really get good until the fourth and fifth season. The first through the third, it was a lot of nudity and people doing it a lot. But then the fourth and fifth season, it like really picked up the drama and like you didn't know who was gonna survive and like what the heck's going on, and there's all this mystery. But I mean, I get it. They had to do a lot of, nudity to get, the popularity in there, get it big so that they could get all that money and make the big show what it was going to be. I'm not saying anything that a million other people haven't already said, so. You were interested as soon as the kid was pushed off and fell off the tower. Oh damn. The same with the books. I mean, the books are totally different. I mean, yeah, it's still a lot of, people doing it, but like the books like really like build the world and the descriptions and stuff for me. A little bit different. I mean, I'm one of those people that's annoyingly like the book was better. I'm one of those. Oh no. No, 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 no. It completely just pisses me off that he didn't finish the Song of Fire and Ice. The people who say that the books are better. That's how you are with But no, I was absolutely upset that the last season of Game of Thrones isn't even really from any of the books. Because the books didn't finish it. I feel like if you start an amazing series, then finish it. Yes. Like, why did he build up this amazing world with all this mythology and make us ask all these questions and then didn't give us any of the answers? Like, and then he came out with Fire and Blood, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you writing a different story? You already have a story to finish. Stop. And if like you're gonna write like a history or something, like a backstory to the world you already built, I want to know more about Valyria. I want to know the story of the doom of Valyria. If you're gonna go 200 years back, you might as well go 2,000 years back and tell us about all of that. Gave the TV show directors plot points on how to finish season. Didn't even finish watching. You didn't even finish watching season 8. Your grandmother gave you a phone call and went off on how disappointing it was. And never motivated to watch it, but I think you're gonna rewatch the series again and finish it just so you can say you did. I did that recently, actually. Like, I watched all the way up until the like halfway through the last season, and the whole thing with John and Danny, and I was like, nope, I'm done. I was like, that didn't happen. Like it's all ruined now. Just throw the baby out with the bathwater. And then I rewatched it recently and finished it, and I was just like, eh. Now Game of Thrones is at home in the list of movies that I put on as background noise. Did I say movies or shows? The list of things I watch is background noise. Oh, if you haven't already watched Devil in Ohio on Netflix, it's like a limited part series or whatever, but it's good. Really good for Halloween. Spooky. Like, I don't know, 6 or 8 episodes or so. If I ever listened or read to anything that was Brandon Sanderson, um, not that I can recall. Brandon Sanderson. I don't know. I'm not like great at remembering authors, especially if it was kind of like a one-off for me. Um, like I can almost see a book cover in my brain from working at Barnes and Noble, but I'm not sure if it's the right one. Fantasy Mistborn is one of the books. I haven't read anything by him. About him stuff after you listen to Mistborn. I think it's the books I'm thinking of. Anderson. Oh, okay. Was not the books I was thinking of, but I do recognize them from my Barnes and Noble days. No, I have not read any of his books. For like a while, I was like in like a one-off phase. Like I wanted to read books that like you read the one book and it was done. And I found some pretty interesting stories going through that phase. Like there was one book I read called 14 by Peter Klein. That one's really good. It's about like this guy in San Francisco. He like moves to a new apartment building and then he finds out that the apartment building is like a weird, crazy puzzle that leads to like a mystery. I don't want to spoil anything. I can't say too much about it without spoiling the mystery, but it's like a thriller mystery and there's some like HP Lovecraft elements in there. And there's a really, I can't remember the name of the author, but there's a really cute vampire story called The Unattractive Vampire. And it's about like a Nosferatu type vampire who's actually not the only hero of the story, but like the co-hero of the story. It's actually really funny. Oh yeah, it's actually really good as an audiobook too. Normal fantasy romance. Yeah, I read in that genre too. I'm kind of just all over the place. Which is why I was like so disappointed that I didn't get the Barnes and Noble job here. Because I can almost sell out of any section except for like most of the nonfiction. But like anything that's fiction, I can pretty much sell out of it. So I would have fit in really well. But I mean I'm not like, I can always try again later. I'm just not gonna try like right now again because we're gonna try and go home to visit family for the holidays, and we're gonna go home for a while. So I don't want to like get a new job and like Christmas is like Super Bowl season to Barnes and Noble. So they like do prefer it, but it's not like so the one that I live nearby, they happen to employ a lot of college students. And college students have to go to classes during the week and typically earlier in the day. So it would have been like mutually beneficial. But yes, it is like a retail company, so they do prefer weekend hours or like weekend availability. But you know, there was a chance that maybe we could have worked it out, but I mean, next year, my availability might not be as strict. Maybe one weekend day every other weekend or something like that. But you never know. There might be developments on their way in my life where I don't even need to worry about a part time job. Doesn't mean I'm gonna stop looking, but I'm also not gonna like get discouraged and like hate myself if I don't get accepted to something. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we are too. So when you read like sci-fi, fantasy, romance, is it strictly from the young adult section or like just depends? Yeah, it is better said than done to keep up, you know, self-esteem and stuff when it comes to employment. Through that. mainly from young adults who will read from the adult section too regarding paranormal fantasy mixed with romance, but you want a story that isn't dedicated to the dirty stuff. Don't mind steamy stuff, but dislike it when the authors write story around the steamy. What the fuck comes first, and the steamy stuff is, the cool beans after. Got it. Yeah, that's kind of a hard line to walk because, like, especially with like paranormal fantasy romance, there's a lot of that that's like animalistic and a little bit too involved. This has got to be the tiniest face I have ever painted. This is a challenge. I did not think this through when I agreed to the size for a double portrait. Show me now. Definitely one of those faces where I have to like remind myself I don't need to paint every single detail. More about suggesting the details is what makes it convincing. About who the author was, but there's a book where the main character needed to go rescue her sisters, but she did it for the first time, and you're like, what? Get a room later, save your sisters. Yeah, definitely. There's this one author that I have kind of a collection of her books. Um, she's kind of like well known in the sci-fi fantasy romance circles. Sherilyn Kenyon, and like I've kind of like outgrown her books, but I just can't get rid of them. A little bit, I don't know, I guess sentimentally attached to them in a way. Um, but like I don't know, there is like some substance around the steamy for me because like a lot of her characters like discuss like trauma and healing with each other and like those kinds of things. Like there's a lot of empathy between the characters, even if they're not the characters that are a couple. And she even wrote books for her son that are like in the same universe as her adult novels, which I thought was like really, really cool. So I mean, she did kind of like do one series for the young adult crowd. You remember Jean Showalter? I haven't heard that name before. Noelle used to read a lot of adult books when you were in high school. Me too. Remember your mom was wanting to borrow some of the books, and I was like, I'm not sure if you're old enough. um, so my mom was like super strict. And probably wouldn't have been reading those books if she had ever like opened one of them. Like, okay, so when I started getting really, really into reading, I was like 12, like reading like adult level books, like reading level wise. So I was reading Atonement. And I didn't know what it was. So I asked my mom what the C word meant. And she freaked out, ripped the book out of my hands, and like had a whole fit. And like I later found out that literally that is the only time that like anything truly like adult is discussed in that story. And I was like, wow, you really overreacted on that one. So from then on, any books that I got that weren't strictly from the young adult section, I like was just like, no, you wouldn't really be interested in this. It's too far out. It's too out there. You wouldn't be interested. Luckily, my mom is like a Lifetime Network kind of lady. If she reads a book, it's a little bit more realistic than that. Although, for some reason, she got really into Twilight. I think one of her eyes kind of shifted over a little too far. Or maybe it's just the way the snakes are draped around her face. I'm not sure. Roxy. Okay, I'm gonna start smearing. I think I need to. Oh, this is a stopping point. Like a whole hour and a half's work in like a tiny little square inch of space. Doesn't feel very productive, but it definitely is because my hand is like dying right now. Her mom married. Stepdad was really strict when it came to what kind of stuff, that kind of stuff, but never tried reading your books. One time your mom tried, it didn't last long because I told her, hey, at least you're spending money on books and not drugs. I'm glad it looks good through the camera because to me it looks a little muddy. But I mean, I put every little dab of paint on here, so I know what looks off and what, you know. Also, I've been staring at it for way too long, so I'm probably being a little bit too hard on it too. It'll definitely look better when I come back for a second, you know, coat or whatever. Yeah, it's the first layer. Like I haven't, you know, added in that layer that's like the really like rosy bits and the like brighter highlights and stuff. But yeah, my hand is cramping up. My dog wants dinner, so I'm gonna go ahead and end. I'm sorry that the stream cut out again like that. Um, but thank you so much for hanging out with me. And let's give the little duckies a little little chance to say goodbye. What we worked on for today. The green almost looks like it's glowing, like it's like an emerald duck. I mean, like that's just how it looks in the camera to me. It's almost like a luminescent green. It has a light inside of it. But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out with me. Let's see, today's Tuesday, so I will see everybody on Friday. Finger guns. But yeah. The duck, the green. So I don't know. I think I might end up holding on to that one. I mean, I'm sure I'll post the ducks in like an online store eventually. Like until somebody tries to buy it online, it might just be like living in one of my bathrooms as like a decoration. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say goodnight, feed my doggos. I hope everybody has a good rest of their night, and see you Friday. Finger guns. I keep doing it, and I'm like, why are you doing that? Okay, bye.